Bohemian Grove is a restricted 2,700-acre, 1,100 hectares, campground at 20601 Bohemian Avenue, in Monte Rio, California, United States, belonging to a private San Francisco-based gentlemen's club known as the Bohemian Club. In mid-July each year, Bohemian Grove hosts a more than 2-week encampment of some of the most prominent men in the world. 1-2. The Bohemian Club's all-male membership includes artists and musicians, as well as many prominent business leaders, government officials, former U.S. presidents, senior media executives, and people of power. 3-4. Members may invite guests to the Grove. Guests may be invited to the Grove for either the Spring Jinx in June or the main July encampment. Bohemian Club members can schedule private day-use events at the Grove anytime it is not being used for club-wide purposes, and they are allowed at these times to bring spouses, family, and friends, although female and minor guests must be off the property by 9 or 10 p.m. 5. After 40 years of membership, the men earn Old Guard status, giving them reserved seating at the Grove's daily talks, as well as other perquisites. Former U.S. President Herbert Hoover was inducted into the Old Guard on March 19, 1953, he had joined the club exactly 40 years previously. 6. Redwood branches from the Grove were flown to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City, where they were used to decorate a banquet room for the celebration. In his acceptance speech, Hoover compared the honor of the Old Guard status to his frequent role as veteran counselor to later presidents. 7. The club motto is "Weaving Spiders Come Not Here," which implies that outside concerns and business deals, networking, are to be left outside. When gathered in groups, Bohemians usually adhere to the injunction, although discussion of business often occurs between pairs of members. 2. Important political and business deals have been developed at the Grove. 5. The Grove is particularly famous for a Manhattan Project planning meeting that took place there in September 1942, which subsequently led to the atomic bomb. Those attending this meeting included Ernest Lawrence, J. Robert Oppenheimer, the S1 executive committee heads, such as the presidents of Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, along with representatives of Standard Oil and General Electric as well as various military officials. At the time, Oppenheimer was not an S1 member, although Lawrence and Oppenheimer hosted the meeting. 8. Grove members take particular pride in this event and often relate the story to new attendees. 2. Other behavior at the campground has led to numerous claims and even some parody in popular culture. One example was former President Richard Nixon's comments from a May 13, 1971 recording that, "The Bohemian Grove, which I attend from time to time, it is the most faggy goddamn thing you could ever imagine." 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The tradition of a summer encampment was established 6 years after the Bohemian Club was formed in 1872. 2. Henry Harry Edwards, a stage actor and founding member, announced that he was relocating to New York City to further his career. On June 29, 1878, somewhat fewer than 100 Bohemians gathered in the Redwoods in Marin County near Taylorville, present-day Samuel P. Taylor State Park, for an evening send-off party in Edwards' honor. 16. Freely flowing liquor and some Japanese lanterns put a glow on the festivities, and club members retired at a late hour to the modest comfort of blankets laid on the dense mat of redwood needles. This festive gathering was repeated the next year without Edwards, and became the club's yearly encampment. 17. By 1882 the members of the club camped together at various locations in both Marin and Sonoma County, including the present-day Muir Woods and a redwood grove that once stood near Duncan's Mills, several miles down the Russian River from the current location. From 1893 Bohemians rented the current location, and in 1899 purchased it from Melvin Cyrus Meeker, who had developed a successful logging operation in the area. 2. Gradually over the next decades, members of the club purchased land surrounding the original location to the perimeter of the basin in which it resides. 2. Writer and journalist William Henry Irwin said of the Grove, "You come upon it suddenly. One step and its glory is over you. There is no perspective, you cannot get far enough away from one of the trees to see it as a whole. There they stand, a world of height above you, their pinnacles hidden by their topmost fringes of branches or lost in the sky." 18. Not long after the club's establishment by newspaper journalists, it was commandeered by prominent San Francisco-based businessmen, who provided the financial resources necessary to acquire further land and facilities at the Grove. However, they still retained the Bohemians, the artists and musicians, who continue to entertain international members and guests. 2. The Bohemian Club is a private club, only active members and their guests may visit. Guests have been known to include politicians and notable figures from other countries. 2. Particularly during the midsummer encampment, the number of guests is strictly limited due to the small size of the facilities. Camp valets are responsible for the operation of the individual camps. The head valets are akin to general managers at a resort, club, restaurant, or hotel. Service staff include female workers whose presence at the Grove is limited to daylight hours and central areas close to the main gate. Male workers may be housed at the Grove within the boundaries of the camp to which they are assigned or in peripheral service areas. High-status workers stay in small private quarters, but most are housed in rustic bunkhouses. 2. The main encampment area consists of 160 acres, 65 hectares, of old-growth redwood trees over 1,000 years old, some over 300 feet, 91 meters, tall. 19. The main activity at the Grove is varied entertainment in which all members participate, on a grand main stage and a smaller, more intimate stage. The majority of common facilities are entertainment venues. Citation